The heart of a bustling city, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the chatter of hurried patrons, stood a quaint café named Elysium Brews. Every morning, Alex, a young architect with tousled dark hair and a perpetual look of quiet contemplation, would push open the glass door at precisely 8:15 a.m. He ordered the same thing, a large black coffee, no sugar, extra hot, and sat by the window, sketching building designs on his tablet while the world rushed by outside. The barista, Elena, with her wavy auburn hair tied back in a loose ponytail and eyes like polished emeralds, had noticed him from his first visit months ago. She found his focus endearing, the way his brow furrowed over lines and curves, oblivious to everything else. Little did he know, she had started timing her shifts around his routine, memorizing the subtle changes in his expressions, the triumphant smile when a design clicked, the frustrated sigh when it didn't. Elena's days blurred into a rhythm of steaming milk, frothing lattes, and exchanging pleasantries with regulars, but Alex was different. He barely spoke beyond his order, yet his presence filled the café like a silent melody. She began leaving small notes on his cup sleeves: "Rainy day brew, stay warm." Or, "Your sketches look amazing from here." He would nod appreciatively, sometimes murmuring a soft, "thanks," but never lingering for conversation. Undeterred, Elena poured her unspoken feelings into these gestures, her heart racing each time she slid his coffee across the counter. One crisp autumn afternoon, as golden leaves danced outside, she watched him pack up early, glancing at his phone with a furrowed brow. A text from work, she guessed, another deadline looming. That night, as she closed up, an idea sparked, something bolder, something that couldn't be ignored. The next morning dawned with a chill in the air, fog pressing against the café's windows like a whispered secret. Alex arrived, collar turned up against the drizzle, his usual order slipping from his lips like a habit. Elena's hands trembled slightly as she punched it into the register, her mind replaying the note she'd scribbled in the dim light of her apartment the night before. As the receipt printed, she uncapped her pen, heart pounding, and wrote in neat, looping script, "If you don't come back tomorrow at closing, it'll be too late." She folded it just enough to obscure the words from casual view, then handed it over with his coffee, their fingers brushing in a fleeting spark. Alex pocketed it absent-mindedly, oblivious, and settled into his seat. Elena bit her lip, watching him from behind the espresso machine, wondering if fate would finally intervene. Hours ticked by in a haze of orders, cappuccinos for the suits, chai lattes for the freelancers, but Elena's thoughts circled back to Alex like steam rising from the grinder. She imagined scenarios, him unfolding the receipt during a break, eyes widening in surprise, then a slow smile spreading as he realized it was her. Or worse, crumpling it without a second glance, her vulnerability discarded like yesterday's grounds. By midday, the café emptied briefly, and she stole a moment to gaze at his profile, the way sunlight caught the stubble on his jaw. He'd sketched a soaring bridge today, elegant arches defying gravity, much like the hope she felt building inside her. As the lunch rush surged, she lost sight of him in the crowd, but the note lingered in her mind, a fragile bridge of her own making. Afternoon light slanted through the windows, casting long shadows across the wooden floors as Alex sipped his coffee, the receipt burning a hole in his pocket like an unopened letter. He pulled it out during a lull in his work, intending to toss it, but the handwritten words caught his eye first, the total, then below it, the message. "If you don't come back tomorrow at closing, it'll be too late." His pulse quickened, this wasn't the usual auto-printed slip. He scanned the counter, meeting Elena's gaze across the room. She looked away quickly, cheeks flushing as she wiped the steamer, but the connection hummed in the air between them. For the first time, Alex truly saw her, not just the barista who knew his order, but the woman whose quiet smiles had dotted his mornings like stars in a city sky. Closing time was tomorrow. He had 24 hours to decide. That evening, as rain pattered against the café's awning, Alex wandered the streets, the note clutched in his fist. Memories flooded him, the first time he'd noticed her laugh, light and genuine amid the clatter of cups, the way she'd recommended a pastry once, insisting it paired perfectly with his bitterness-free brew, though he stuck to black. Life had been a whirlwind of blueprints and boardrooms since his breakup 6 months prior, leaving no room for detours. Yet here was this stranger's plea, simple and urgent, cracking open a door he'd nailed shut. He stopped at a bookstore, flipping through novels about chance encounters, wondering if his story could bend that way. By nightfall, resolve settled in his chest. Tomorrow, he'd return, not just for coffee, but for the possibility she'd hidden in ink. Alina's shift ended with the sun dipping low, painting the cafe in hues of amber and rose. She untied her apron, replaying the moment she'd passed the receipt, the electric brush of skin. Doubt crept in as she walked home through puddles reflecting streetlights. Had it been too forward? Too desperate? Her tiny apartment, cluttered with half-read books and potted herbs, felt emptier than usual. She brewed tea, strong and chamomile sweet, and journaled furiously. What if he doesn't come? What if he does, and it's all wrong? Sleep evaded her, dreams weaving scenarios of awkward silences and heartfelt confessions. Dawn broke with birdsong, and she rose early, choosing a simple green dress under her uniform, a nod to hope. The cafe awaited, its bell tinkling like a question mark. The clock struck 8:15, and the door chimed. Alex, on time as ever, but today with a tentative smile that reached his eyes. Alina's breath caught. She took his order, hands steadier now, and as she handed over the coffee, he lingered. About the note, he said softly, voice barely above the hum of the grinder. I'll be here at closing. Her world tilted, a rush of warmth flooding her veins. She nodded, words failing, but her grin spoke volumes. The day unfolded in stolen glances, him sketching with less frenzy, her pouring with extra care. Patrons came and went, oblivious to the undercurrent of anticipation threading through the air like cinnamon in spiced lattes. Hours compressed, each minute a step closer to uncharted territory. As the final customer departed, the cafe transformed, lights dimmed to a soft glow, chairs stacked neatly, the scent of coffee lingering like a promise. Elena wiped the counter one last time, heart hammering, while Alex waited by the door, jacket slung over his arm.